Good morning everybody, Car Biker here. Just taking the bike out for a little spin. I've been doing a bit of modification on it this morning. Nothing startling, but you have to do a test ride, don't you? And I've done two changes. The first is these. I've had these before on the previous CB500X. I think what it is that aside from the very first bike I had, the little 125, I've always had heated grips on my bikes, and I've always bought the Oxford ones. And when I bought the original CB500X and when I got this one, both of them came with heated grips on. I don't think they're standard. I think it's just that the person who bought the bike first put them on there. They had the Honda ones, but the Honda ones are they're the same size as normal grips. And I guess I'm just used to having a bigger thing in my hand really than them little spindly ones. So I thought I'd try some grip puppies like I had before. So I'm trying them out again. I have to say it feels a bit weird because these are even bigger than the Z1000 Oxford heated grips, but we'll see how I get on with them. They might get cut off and I might go with something a little bit narrower, thinner. The other thing I'm trying though is again something I put on the old Honda that I had, which is a Tutoro chain oiler. Why, they've gone up in price, haven't they? I remember when I bought one for the first Honda I had, which, now when did I buy it? I bought that about 2017 or 2018 or something, and I think it cost me something like £60 for the Tutoro kit, and it was the modern one with the single sided oiler on the sprocket, and the dual sided oiler, and the extension, and every mount you could think of. Everything but the protective metal cover for the reservoir came with it. This time round, to get something even approaching that, you're looking at something like £170. I thought, well, I'm not doing that. So I found somebody selling one second hand, claiming it to be second hand and unused, which, when I've looked at it, I believe them. I don't think it's ever been used. It's far too clean. And I bought one for £50 off eBay, which seems altogether better. It came with the single-sided oiler, two of those in fact, and the magic extension thing, and the dual-sided oiler, but it didn't have all of the extra pieces in, just those bits. However, I'm guessing that they might have had it a while, and then I bought it quite a while ago and it's been sat in my garage for a while because I couldn't be bothered to fit it. I'd actually intended to put it on the Z1000, but I couldn't find anywhere that it would go that wouldn't look terrible. And one of the bits of plastic has perished a bit, I think, and it's the dual-sided oiler bit broke. So the minute I'm running the single-sided oiler, we'll see how that goes. I've seen mixed reviews. I've seen Scott Oiler say that there's no point in having a dual-sided one, right up until the point where they actually decided that they were going to make one. That a single-sided will be good enough. I've seen plenty of people say that a single-sided oiler has lasted them 50,000 miles on the single chain. So, you know, maybe I'll just stick with it. But I've also seen people say that they've got the chain all dirty, and then when they've been running the oiler, it's only really cleaned one side, because it's less about oiling the chain and more about cleaning it, isn't it? Which is why I'm doing this ride, really. It's the Fling test. The whole point of this thing is that it covers your chain in this weird thin oil. I am taking a weird route today. I don't actually know where I'm going. I just told Kalimoto, take me to Stamford Bridge, but take me by a few weird places, and I'm letting it just do the routing. I think what might have happened is I might have just missed a turning. Actually, it might be sending me back again. Yeah, where was I? So yeah, it's got this really thin and kind of stretchy oil. It's something that I'm sure a 6-year-old boy will play with. This horrible, weird, gooey oil. But that's supposed to cover the chain to reduce the risk of rust. But more importantly, it's supposed to envelop bits of dirt, lift them off the chain, and then fling them off. But of course, that means adjusting it correctly, which you do with a little knob on the Tutoro oiler. So I've turned it when I first geese crossing the road. When I first got the other one, I read in the manual that it should have a 1.5 turns of opening on it, and I went out for a ride and completely covered my rear tyre in oil. It's definitely taking me back where I came. And then I got in contact with them and they said, oh no, go to about 1/4 of a turn. Now the instructions that came with this one say 1 turn, so I've done 1 turn to try it, but it's a very warm day, so the oil's going to be thinner as well, so I might need to turn it down. I might stop my bike in a minute and have a look at the rear tyre and find it absolutely clarted up. But I think it is, as I say, quite an old one, because the newer ones come with a little magnet for when you're priming. The way this oiler works is it's completely mechanical. There's no electrics, there's no sticking anything into your vacuums or out like that. Basically, it has a little weight inside the reservoir that when the weight is at the bottom, it closes off a hole so that no oil can come out. And then as you ride, it bounces up and down, which allows a little bit of oil to get past the weight, and that then comes through the hole that you can control with a little twisty knob and gets down onto your chain and oils it. And I know this one's quite old because it didn't come with a magnet, and I thought, well, that's awkward, so I went and got my own magnet, just my long extendable magnet that I use to extract screws that I've dropped into fairings and whatnot. And it turns out it was a brass fitting, not a steel fitting. So this is the original version of the oiler before it got all magnety. But you know, the mechanics of it, I believe, are pretty much the same, so I'm hoping it's going to give me an opportunity to not have to oil my chain or grease my chain or lube my chain, whatever you want to call it, every couple of 100 miles. Hopefully it's just going to do it auto-magically for me. Anyway, let's find somewhere safe to pull over and just check, because I've now done a couple of miles. Let's check if there's actually oil coming out, and if there is oil coming out, is there too much oil coming out? This should do nicely. The good thing about the mechanical approach is that if the bike's not moving, it doesn't deliver oil. It's all about that movement. Let's have a look. Well, I can't see any oil on the tyre, so definitely not too open at the minute. That's just a bit where I've cleaned it earlier, but there is oil down here, so I don't know if you can see this. I'll try and get the camera reasonably upright, but it's attached to my head, of course. So this is the delivery mechanism down to the side here, and it is leaving oil nicely on that side of the sprocket. And then I've run it down here. You can see a little bit here where it's not as neat as I would have liked it, but I wanted to make sure it didn't get anywhere near the chain. And it comes back up here to this little reservoir here, which is supposedly good for about 1500 miles. I think, given that there's oil on there, I think I'll run it another few miles because it's not splattering, and then check it again. So in terms of the oiler itself, kind of the design of the machine, not the unit I've got obviously, because I've not had it fit to the bike long enough to make a judgment yet, but that would only be about whether this one was broken or not. Maybe that was the real reason it was on sale on eBay. I really like them. I'd definitely recommend them if you've got the type of bike that it'll go on and not look horrible. You know, these kind of adventure-ish styled bikes are quite utilitarian anyway, so the extra bit of pipe doesn't look so bad, I don't think. And I've tried to hide it away as much as I can anyway, of course. But I do quite like them. I had one, as I say, on the previous Honda. I changed the chain and put the oiler on at roughly the same time. Got one of those DID chains. And I ran it for a good few thousand miles, maybe 5,000, I'm not sure. But I remember I never needed to adjust the chain once, which is quite unusual for a brand new chain. Usually after a few hundred miles you need to kind of adjust it a little bit. But I never had to adjust it once. I never had to oil it, and I never had to clean it. Cleaning bikes, as I've said before, is not my idea of fun. Cleaning chains really isn't my idea of fun. I hate cleaning the chain. It's horrible, nasty business, and you can never seem to actually get the damn thing clean. there's always a bit more dirt to come, isn't there? But I do recommend them. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think they're a little overpriced if you're buying them off the website, which is a shame. They were a lot more reasonable, but as with everything, particularly in this country, the price seems to have gone absolutely crazy recently. I think people might be taking the mick a little bit out of us, you know, with the pricing in Britain. I remember when I was looking at potentially having to change the side stand on this bike when I realised it had been shortened before the bike shop just gave me a new one for free. I looked up the pricing and it was about £80 for a new side stand. It's just a piece of metal, come on. But I could buy one from Poland and have it shipped here for about 25 quid. So it does seem like we are getting a bit ripped off. That said, I got one cheap on eBay, so it's a good way of looking for them. And if you think that it's a reasonable price, which a lot of people will, I'm from Yorkshire, so obviously I think everything's expensive anyway. But I think it is a good little tool to have, and it's a British company, so you know, it's a little bit of British innovation being supported. Not by me on this occasion, obviously. Call me a hypocrite if you wish. Yeah, I think they're well worth a look. Anyway, I'm going to carry on my ride now. I just thought I'd give you a little update there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.